The impact that work-related stress can have on individuals can vary dramatically. Over the years, I've dealt with members of our union whose health has been severely damaged, some for a brief time, others permanently, unable to work again. A number have been suicidal. One in particular did take his own life, and it goes without saying that was a shocking experience for all his family and friends. I was one of those friends. Mike was a talented journalist and a very good FOC. He was convener for many years in a large newspaper group, and we worked closely during those years. He sent me a long text message the day he ended his life. It spelled out all the problems he had been facing, including the closure of his local newspaper office, where he had worked since leaving school. This very long text message was a solitary tale of someone who loved his job and cared very much about the industry and his colleagues, but somehow he'd come to feel partly responsible for this downward spiral, and he believed he had let a range of people down. Ironically, on that fateful day, I was in a meeting with civil servants and senior members of the Scottish Government Mental Health Umbrella Group. We were working on the final draft of the NUJ guidelines for the media on mental health and suicide, which for me, while they've always been really important, have taken on new meaning. When dealing with things like stress through people losing their jobs, and those remaining picking up the extra work, it is a very important part of the NUJ officials' work. However, we need employers to have the same approach, and that is part of this union's campaign.
I'm Robbie Dinwoody, 40 years in Scottish daily newspaper journalism, and the second half of that career involved being a politics specialist for the Herald newspaper. Fantastic job at an interesting time, but increasingly demanding. And towards the end, insanely busy. We were into 2014 as the referendum year, which was clearly going to be the high point of any political journalist's career. But whether through the stress of that or for whatever reason, I came down with pneumonia. This got worse. It wasn't clearing, and when I was taken into hospital eventually, they discovered I had an underlying heart problem, and I was diagnosed with heart failure. I struggled on, if you like, because it was just too important a story to miss. But it was clear that I was suffering. When it became clear to me that carrying on in a full 5-day week, full-time job, long hours, was not going to be an option, I contacted the union, and they were very supportive. And it meant that when I approached the company and said, look, this can't go on, I had help at my side. We came to a solution, interestingly. And that solution was that I would be allowed to move to a 3-day week, shorter week, working from home, doing leader writing on 2 days and a column on the other. And the beauty of that was that it helped me get my health back together, but the company didn't lose me and the experience I built up in 40 years on the job. If I just simply kept going and doing the kind of hours I was doing and under the kind of stress I was under, I would probably have done what many journalists, too many do, which is died with my boots on. And I wouldn't have this future to look forward to, grandchildren, all the things you can enjoy in older age. I think seeking help and finding a solution that helped everyone was ideal, was a win-win on all sides.
There's a vast body of irrefutable evidence that stress has a major impact for business, the economy, society as a whole, but most importantly for individuals and their families. It's absolutely true that stress at work can kill, because it's not only physical ailments that this can bring about in individuals, but also mental health conditions such as stress-related illness, anxiety, depression, but in the worst cases, suicide. In the UK, we don't link work with suicide, whereas they do in other countries such as Japan, where there is an official term to describe suicide caused by overwork or stressful working conditions. Stress is the top cause of work-related illness in the UK. The HSE estimates that every year there are up to 250,000 new cases of stress, anxiety and depression, and successive surveys of trade union safety reps have shown this to be the top health and safety concern in workplaces. A research study a decade ago defined a highly demanding job as involving long hours, lack of control, a high volume of work and non-negotiable deadlines. And that's any journalist's job description. So it's crucially important in this industry in particular that preventative action is taken by employers.